Previously on Pokémon.
Giant birds or something. We'll see that in the next episode, so I will see you guys next
And now, the thrilling conclusion.
time. Hey folks, welcome back to HeartGold vs. Crystal. We are here in Ekrutik City, and we have a legendary bird to take care of. Once you defeat all 5 kimono girls at the dance theater, you can come up here with your newly acquired magical bell thingamajig, and find Ho-Oh at the top of the Tin Tower, or the Bell Tower, I'm sorry. But the difference between HeartGold and Soul Silver, as you might imagine, is that in Soul Silver, you don't get Ho-Oh up here at this time. You get Lugia over by the Whirl Islands. I won't be showing that off because I'm not playing Soul Silver, but just keep that in mind. But anyway, our task today is to climb the Bell Tower and face off against Ho-Oh. I think you can actually get in here earlier, but Ho-Oh will not appear until you have the 2 items that you require. So, not really worth it. Not unless you really want some of the items in here, there's nothing really worth noting. It is, however, almost considerable as a dungeon, because there's some hopping puzzles, there's a bit of a maze, there's a teleporter maze later on, and it can actually be somewhat confusing to get around, or at least a bit of a pain. Starts off easy, of course, and honestly it's a lot less tedious and frustrating if you have repels active, because otherwise you'd be running into a whole bunch of Rattata and probably Ghastly every few steps, and that would just be horrible, absolutely horrible. You don't want that. And this is another one of those mazes where a lot of the items are off the beaten path, so you'll have to go out of your way to get the item, kind of backtrack to the beginning of the room, and then take the correct path over to the way forward, which is kind of annoying game design when I'm trying to streamline everything for a video and make it nice and quick and fluid. But for like casual playing through, I don't really mind that. But you can see there's an item over there that I'm just not going to bother with because I don't want to go all the way around. Call me a rebel. Anyway, I really do like the ambiance and the aesthetic of the Bell Tower. It reuses the waving beam from the Sprout Tower, which is neat. But just, you know, the music and the kind of subdued but still warm palette. It's a nice feel. Anyway, here we get into teleporter territory. In teleporter territory, it's confusing. You know, you're not sure where something is going to send you. It's going to send you to another floor, definitely. But you don't know whether it's 2 floors up or 1 floor up or whatever. So if you're not familiar with it, there's going to be a lot of trial and error. And essentially, you'll come down to rote memorization in order to get all the way through. It's a little annoying. Since I am obliged to compare everything to the Sylph Corporation, I would point out that Sylph Corporation requires you to navigate without the aid of teleporters as well as with. They are a supplement to the navigation, not the sole gimmick of it. But regardless, I thought it was pretty fun. And once you get through that, you go up to the top of the Bell Tower, where the kimono girls meet you. And yes, Doodle, this is indeed Ho-Oh. Ho-Oh is the mascot for Gold and HeartGold versions, and kind of the biggest deal of the second generation, and also the first Generation 2 Pokemon to appear in the anime, appearing in Episode 1, before most Generation 1 Pokemon appeared. But regardless, he is our legendary to face today. And he is a bit of an interesting one. He is fire-flying, he's a phoenix of sorts, basically, which ties in thematically with Ho-Oh coming and reviving the Pokemon who died in the burned tower, because that's what phoenixes do, they rise from the ashes. And because it is a fire-flying type, if you want to destroy it, rock types are definitely the way to go, which is why I'm bringing in Rock Tomb. I don't expect Klaus to be able to KO it in one hit. It's not a fragile Pokemon by any means, but Rock Tomb being quadruple effective should do a fairly good job, which it really didn't. Yeah. But Ho-Oh is a force to be reckoned with. You can see he comes packed with Sunny Day, which will power up all his Fire-type moves, and he also comes with an extremely powerful Fire-type move that is boosted by Sunny Day. Fire Blast! Yeah, it's a little threatening. Now, he also has one other Fire-type move, I believe. He definitely has it in Gold. I don't remember offhand if he has it here, but it is his signature move, so you probably know what I'm talking about. Now, basically, you're meant to catch Ho-Oh here. You're not meant to kill it, because it is a legendary Pokemon. Why would you do something other than catch a legendary Pokemon that is fairly high level for this period, for this point in the game, and is definitely a free get-out-of-jail free card for the Elite Four. There, finally, the second punch works. And it's no coincidence that... There it is, Sacred Fire. It's no coincidence that Professor Elm gave you the Master Ball right before this. In case you are really not so good at catching Pokemon or impatient, you can use the Master Ball in order to catch Ho-Oh fairly easily. Now, if I had my way in the world, I would have just KO'd this thing, because I'm not going to use it, I don't really care. But I know that I would receive several death threats if I tried to do that, so I decided to catch it anyway. Yeah. But screw catching it, like, without the Master Ball. I don't care enough to do that. I did that once in my personal playthrough, and I didn't really want to do it again, because Ho-Oh has an extremely low capture rate. It's, I think, 3, which is shared by a number of legendary Pokemon, and is the lowest capture rate in existence. It's a pain in the butt. Now, if you do KO it, I think you'll have another chance to come back and get it if you so desire. I didn't want to bother. But anyway, there is a crystal equivalent to this fight, but it's not exactly the same. So, check that out after this commercial break. Alrighty, the crystal equivalent is in fact not a Ho-Oh battle at all. There is a Ho-Oh battle in Crystal, but the equivalent for this point in the game is in fact a showdown with Suicune. Suicune has, of course, been popping in and out of our consciousness throughout the entire game. It's been saying hi. And now, at this point in the game, you can say hello and, again, attempt to capture him. Now, Suicune was apparently chosen as the legendary beast representative for Crystal version because of a popularity poll. It was the most popular of the 3, which is also why it got a role in the 4th movie. Personally, I like Raikou the best, but whatever. But again, much the same as with Ho-Oh, he's there as an easy button, basically, because Suicune is a pretty darn good Pokemon. I think it's actually one of the few legendaries that manages to stay out of never used, like, for all intents and purposes, practically never used, not actually never used here, and Uber. It's like, it's one of the more popular Pokemon in the Mega Game last I checked, which was 3 years ago, before the release of 5th generation, so whatever. But it's actually very good, very useful, It's not so great here because it doesn't have, like, good moves. It has Bubble Beam and Gust and other things like that. But much like Vaporeon, upon which it is based, it is a bulky water. It can dish out damage, and it can take damage. And good lord, I haven't inflicted any damage on it yet. Again, if I wanted to, I could use Professor Elm's Master Ball on this guy, and I would catch it, and everyone would be happy, and all would be right with the world. But first, I want to put up a good, like, fight, and second, I want to give a little middle finger to everyone who wants me to catch a Suicune, because screw you, basically. Now, I remember when I first did a Crystal series several years ago, which was a solo run, a single Pokemon run, for which I had no reason to catch Suicune. People were still angry that I didn't try to catch Suicune, and I was like, well, I did try to catch it. I threw all the balls in my inventory at it, so you can't say I didn't try. Here, I legitimately did not try. I don't give a crap about catching this Suicune. Strategically, wail on it, use Brute Force. It's a bulky water. Take it down the same way you took down whatever Vaporeons you've run into. This does not bode well for our heroes. We've got Klaus and a Gyarados, and Gyarados isn't technically part of our team, so I don't know what's up with that. So you can see Suicune is kind of equivalent to Ho battle tactic-wise, in that it decides to use Rain Dance quite a bit, and that will boost up its water-type moves, much in the same way Sunny Day will boost up Ho-Oh's fire-type moves. And I assume Lugia would do a similar thing. I haven't played Silver or Soul Silver in several millennia, so I couldn't really tell you, but I assume it's a similar thing. But anyway, Klaus is actually surprisingly pretty decent against the Suicune, just since Klaus resists Bubble Beam and doesn't apparently really care about Gust. You saw how little that one did. And Strength is surprisingly doing a lot. I was not expecting Klaus to be the killer in this matchup, but such was the case, and Suicune goes down. Suck it. And then Eugene will pop and he's like, hey, that was pretty whack. One thing I didn't show about Crystal, which is just not worth showing, is that before you enter the Tin Tower, which it is in this game, you'll fight those 3 sages, and they have the 3 Kanto evolutions as well as Noctowls, and I don't really care, and it's boring and it's repetitive. But that wraps up our legendary escapades, and I will see you guys next time for the road to the Pokemon League.